Here in the Twin Cities, several graduate students have interviewed me for one in PhD in anthropology and another one in social psychology, who are folks who are studying the timidity of younger women to claim affiliation with the word, with feminism, and so they've talked to me about it because I'm a second wave feminist. I'm in my 60s, and I simply don't understand timidity around the word. It just baffles me. I don't get it. And one of the interviews I had this past week, however, was with this young gentleman who took me out for coffee. And he had been, I'm the executive director of this organization in the Twin Cities that I started in 2008. It's called the Dead Feminist Society of Minnesota. And it's a group of almost 600 women, and we meet monthly. There aren't 600 of us who gather every month. There's probably as many as, sometimes as few as 20 and as many as 60 or 70. But I organize a speaker, and we meet at a large bookstore in the Twin Cities, and have a general discussion about topics that are specific and important and pertinent to gender issues and equality for all people. And this gentleman had come to one of our salons, and afterward he wanted to interview me for his anthropology PhD. And he said, well, when I was at your meeting the other night afterwards, when I was mingling, he said, I did find a number of women who I could say were feminists. He said they definitely believed in equality. They were open to discussing things. He said, but then there were real feminazis in the room as well. And I said, excuse me? And he said, what? I said, what did you say? And he said, there were feminazis in the room. I said, feminazis? And he said, yes. And I said, well, just exactly what is that? He said, oh, angry, aggressive, man-hating women. And I said, wait a minute. I said, calling a woman a feminazi is like calling an African American the N-word. And he said, really? I said, because that word doesn't exist. That word does not exist. I said, do you know where that word came from? And he said, well, it exists. We use it all the time. I said, do you know the roots of it? He said, no. And I told him it was Rush Limbaugh's original word. And he did not know that. So into the lexicon has gone this horrific slander of strong women who, I said to him, so you're saying that you can't be a feminist if you're angry? And he said, no. He said, I just don't think it really rises to a purpose. I said, so can you be a human rights activist if you're angry? He said, oh, certainly. I said, can you be in favor of gay rights if you're angry? He said, oh, certainly. I said, why then can't you be a proponent for equality for women and be angry and have that be okay? And that baffled him, and that set him back, and he said, boy, I've learned something here. And I said, whenever women gather, as long as they have teacups balanced on their knees and use gentle phrases and walk around in platform high heel shoes so they teeter and can't outrun somebody, then they're gentle and frail and lovely, and we think they're amazing. But when a woman is strong, aggressive, assertive, opinionated, we have to call her sick, bad, crazy, or stupid. And now somehow we've wrapped all of that around the definition of feminism. And there are many of us who do not buy that. We will not cop to it. We won't fold to it. We won't yield to it. And many of us, even more so, who would probably take a bullet in the forehead over it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's something we feel very strongly about. And the older I've gotten, the more I've seen the cowardly approach that we take to defining ourselves in the public place. And I don't understand that. I mean, this is supposed to be the age of diversity. This is supposed to be the age of inclusion. This is supposed to be the multicultural, global economy where we all honor and respect each other. Why then cannot women claim their feminism? I'll tell you what institutions do. Institutions establish mission statements that lure the creative. So let's say, for example, you're an online university, and you say, we want to attract writers and innovators and designers, and we are team oriented. We're focused on collaborative efforts that reward imagination and innovation. And you put those words on the wall, you put them on your letterhead, you do everything you're supposed to do to collect and gather those people. And lo and behold, those people come and work for you. So the people step up, they join these organizations. This isn't just, I'm using this as an example, but when the person, the individual who's truly innovative, truly creative, truly breaking through with new ideas and new designs and new directions, steps into a team that's already been codified in some way, that person is seen as a renegade and a rogue and someone who's not a quote unquote team player. You become, you're called as a team player, you enter in, but if you attempt to do anything other than what the leadership says, you're called out. And that's what I've seen over and over. And like I said at another point in this interview, most of my experience has been with faith-based institutions and nonprofits. I've seen it with nonprofits over and over, where nonprofits have missions that are very lofty and important to not only themselves but to more so to the communities they serve. They're critical to the people in need, and with the diminishing resources for charities and for societies that are working for the betterment of communities, these people call out and say, "Give us your ideas. Come forward with your energy, with your enthusiasm." People step up with their energy and enthusiasm, and they're shined on. They shine them on. You know. What I do see is, I think what happens in a lot of times, because it's so collaborative, and because you come to your comfort level with each other, I think they become closed off. I think they choose their own people, they stay with their own, and they don't stretch out and reach out. And I think that's very difficult for actors especially. I think that actors who find a comfort level with other actors are, in some ways it's a great gift, and in other ways it's a great handicap, because they will stay with those people to their own detriment, you know? As a writer, as a playwright, I get to call a lot of the shots in the early stages of the development of my play, and I try to work with strangers all the time. You know, I have auditions for all of my staged readings, open auditions. I don't. In the very beginning, I invite my girlfriends to come over and read it, my living room with a bottle of champagne. But as the play develops, I look for people I've never met before to read my stuff, so that I can get their feedback and I can hear it anew. Because there's a lot of sycophants in the world, and people want to be around success. They want to feed off success, and they want to contribute to success too. But you sometimes need people who are just pure of heart, just folks who just love what they're doing, and so you have to break through some of the high comfort zones sometimes and get out into the dangerous land a little bit.